Others? Well, the light returns the moment they leave. Now, let me be clear, this isn't about bitterness or blame, it's about clarity. Because if you've lived long enough, and I know you have, you've seen it for yourself. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend, and not every hand you hold is meant to help you stand. Life's too short to keep giving your time, energy, and hard-earned peace to women who drain you, confuse you, or leave you second-guessing yourself, especially the ones who hide behind charm, beauty, or those perfectly polished social graces. In today's video, we'll uncover 6 unmistakable signs of women with toxic traits that you can't afford to ignore. This isn't about judgment, it's about wisdom, recognizing who truly deserves a seat at your table and who's only there to take the bread. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And I'd add, it also depends on the company you keep. Let's sharpen that clarity together. Ready? Let's dive in. Signs 1. She's always the victim. The first sign of a toxic woman is one many overlook until it's too late. She's always the victim. It doesn't matter if it's a stranger at the grocery store, her best friend of 20 years, or her last 3 ex-husbands. Somehow, in every story, she's the one who got hurt, betrayed, or wronged. You sit across from her, listening, nodding, maybe even feeling protective at first. She's convincing. She paints vivid pictures of how unfair life has been to her, how misunderstood she is. If you're not paying attention, you might think she just needs someone to treat her right. That's the hook. But as time goes on, you'll realize it's not about past wounds. It's about control. Take Tom, for example. He was a good man, steady and kind. He met a woman like this after his divorce. At first, he admired her strength as she told him about how her ex lied to her, how her boss held her back, and how her family always took her sister's side. But as the months passed, the stories never changed. Every relationship, every job, every friendship ended unfairly. Eventually, Tom found himself playing a role he didn't sign up for. Either the hero, constantly reassuring her she was right, or the villain, if he dared suggest she take any responsibility. A woman who sees herself as a perpetual victim will never own up to her role in anything. She rewrites every situation to suit her version of the truth. And if you get close enough, you'll become part of that story. You'll be the one who let her down, the one who never understood her. Stoicism teaches us we can't control others, we can only control ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But the woman who clings to victimhood refuses that power. She surrenders to life's circumstances and demands everyone else carry her emotional burdens. If you're not careful, she'll drain your energy and peace of mind. So, what should you do? Recognize it for what it is. Stop playing the rescuer. Don't take responsibility for someone else's wounds that they refuse to heal. Stay grounded in reason, not emotion. Offer compassion, but keep your boundaries. If the stories never change, step back, quietly, firmly. Stoic wisdom reminds us that peace is found within. And if someone repeatedly pulls you into chaos, walking away isn't unkind, it's wise. Signs 2. She's addicted to drama. The second sign is one you'll feel in your gut before you see it with your eyes. She's addicted to drama. I'm not talking about the occasional emotional outburst. We all have those. I'm talking about a woman whose life seems like an endless stage play. She's both the director and the star, and she rewrites the script at will. If life gets too calm, too steady, she'll light a match just to feel alive again. To her, peace is boring. Stability makes her restless. Without realizing it, she'll pull you into a cycle of conflict, confusion, and emotional chaos that never seems to end. It starts small. Maybe she's upset because you were distracted during her story or didn't text back quickly enough. Suddenly, it's proof you're pulling away. A quiet evening turns into an argument you didn't see coming. You spend hours trying to explain yourself and apologize for something you don't fully understand, only to find yourself exhausted while she seems strangely energized. Drama feeds on attention. It keeps her at the center of the world, and everyone else is just trying to keep up. From a Stoic point of view, it makes perfect sense. Seneca once wrote, "An angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes." A person addicted to drama doesn't care about truth or resolution. They care about the power that comes with stirring emotions. Over time, you may think you're helping, trying to calm things down. But you're not. You're playing your part in her drama. And that chips away at your peace, your clarity, and eventually your sense of self. When a man loses his inner stillness, he loses his greatest strength. Signs 3. She controls through guilt. Did you know guilt is one of the most powerful tools of psychological control? Studies show it activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. That sinking feeling in your chest, the tightness in your gut, it's real, and some women, the wrong women, know exactly how to pull those strings. The third sign of a toxic woman is subtle, but dangerous. She controls through guilt. Not directly, not overtly, but in quiet, calculated ways that make you second-guess your own decisions. At first, it seems like she's just sensitive. Maybe she gets upset when you cancel plans to focus on work, or goes quiet when you suggest taking some time for yourself. You think she just needs reassurance. So you cancel your plans, rearrange your priorities, and each time you give up a small piece of yourself to avoid seeing that disappointed look in her eyes. You know the one, the look that says, "I thought you were different. I thought I mattered more." She never has to say it out loud. Her silence is enough. Her sigh is enough. And suddenly, you start feeling like you're failing her, like no matter how hard you try, it's never quite enough. This is how she keeps control. Guilt becomes the currency she trades in. The more you pay, the more she demands. Not with words, but with gestures, moods, and the careful withdrawal of affection. You stop making decisions based on reason or values. You're reacting, trying to avoid guilt. Guilt clouds judgment. It pulls you into a cycle of appeasement where you lose sight of your own purpose. The solution isn't to argue, it's to set clear boundaries and act from reason, not from fear. Offer what you choose to offer because it aligns with who you are, not because you're avoiding punishment. And when she tries to pull on those old strings of guilt, you remain calm, resolved. A man who knows his values and stands firm in them is free, and no amount of guilt can take that freedom unless you give it away. Signs 4. She lacks empathy. The fourth sign of a toxic woman is one that reveals itself when life gets tough. She lacks empathy. Sooner or later, life will throw challenges your way. Maybe you lose someone close. Maybe your health takes a hit, or business goes sideways. In those moments, you'll learn who is truly in your corner. A woman who lacks empathy won't be there when you need her most. If she is, it's only because she feels obligated, not because she genuinely cares. You'll notice it in small ways. Maybe you share something personal, something vulnerable, and instead of leaning in, she brushes past it, like it's just another conversation point. You feel it. She doesn't care. A man I know, someone I respect, once dated a woman after his wife passed. She seemed supportive at first, but when the real weight of his grief surfaced, she became uncomfortable, restless, and impatient. She didn't have the emotional range to meet him where he was. Eventually, he realized he was lonelier with her than he was by himself. Empathy isn't something you can teach or coax out of someone. It's either there or it's not. When it's missing, you'll feel it in your bones. An empathetic partner doesn't need to fix you. Her presence alone reminds you that you're not alone. Stoicism teaches us to accept what is, not what we hope for, and what is here is simple. If she cannot meet you with compassion during your hardest moments, she won't be there when the storms come. The solution? Choose differently for yourself. Walk away if you must, not in anger, but in clarity. Life's too short to be with someone who listens with their ears, but not their heart. Signs 5. She's obsessed with superficial things. This isn't just a casual interest in appearances, it's an obsession. She measures life by how big the house is, how expensive the shoes are, and how many people are watching, liking, and applauding. The things that hold no real weight in the long run become the center of her world. Her sense of value is tied to what she can show off, not who she truly is. You may think it's harmless at first. What's wrong with wanting nice things? But the problem runs deeper. It's not about the things, it's about what they represent to her: status, approval, superiority. She judges herself, and more importantly, she judges you based on what you can provide. You'll find yourself in an endless competition you never signed up for. No matter how much you make, what car you drive, or how hard you work, it's never enough, because someone else always has more. She's always looking for the next rung to climb. The Stoics warned us about this kind of thinking. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." But a woman obsessed with status and appearance will never be content. It's a cycle of chasing externals, filling a broken jar that can never be filled. The truth Stoicism teaches is simple. Externals are indifferent. Marcus Aurelius called them things indifferent, meaning they don't add or subtract from who you are. Character and virtue are what matter. A woman who can't see past the surface will never recognize that in you. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." And a woman obsessed with superficial things is the poorest kind of companion. She will never know contentment, and she will never offer you peace. A Stoic man values peace above all else. If you're with someone who cares more about how things look than how things truly are, you'll lose yourself in the process, your energy, your dignity, and your peace. The solution is simple, though not always easy. Walk away. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. A man who values his peace knows when to leave a shallow life behind. Sign 6. She can't admit she's wrong. The sixth sign often reveals itself during small disagreements that turn into something much bigger than they should be. She can't admit when she's wrong, not ever. You could lay out every fact, explain your side calmly, and show irrefutable proof, but still, she will twist the story to make herself right. If she can't win on facts, she'll shift the conversation to how you're making her feel or how you always do this. The original issue disappears under a pile of emotional deflection. At first, You might think it's just pride, but over time, you realize it's a pattern. She refuses to own her mistakes, big or small. To her, being wrong equals being weak, and weakness is unacceptable. The deeper issue? A fragile sense of self. People who can't admit fault often do so because accepting blame threatens their identity. But when being right becomes the goal, they sacrifice growth, connection, and trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake, or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." This is true wisdom, the ability to welcome correction, not as an attack, but as an opportunity. In a relationship where someone refuses to admit fault, your perspective is always under suspicion, and the burden of being the reasonable one falls on your shoulders. It's exhausting, lonely, and becomes less about connection and more about control. By refusing to admit she's wrong, she's walling herself off from growth, understanding, and ultimately, from love. For a Stoic man, this is where clarity is essential. Choose humility and truth for yourself, and find a partner who does the same. Without that humility, there is no partnership, only competition. Seneca said, "Only time can heal what reason cannot." But in a relationship where reason is never allowed a seat at the table, time only makes things worse. The solution? Seek someone who knows that saying, "I was wrong," isn't weakness, but strength. If she can't offer that, then walk away, not out of anger, but out of respect for the life of wisdom and peace you're building. Sign 7. She disrespects your time. Time is the one currency we never get back. Money can be earned, health can be fought for, but time once spent is gone. A woman who disrespects your time isn't just careless, she's dangerous to your peace of mind. Let me tell you a story about a man named Richard. A successful contractor in his 50s, Richard was sharp, disciplined, and respected in his work. But in his personal life, things were different. He started seeing a woman named Elise. And at first, she was charming, warm, attractive, and made him feel wanted. But there was a pattern. She was always late. 20 minutes, 40 minutes. She'd cancel plans last minute, or forget altogether. Richard, being patient, let it slide at first. But weeks turned into months. He started shifting his work schedule for her, waiting in restaurants alone, and cancelling plans with friends, because Elise said she wanted to see him, only to bail without a second thought. One day, sitting across from him after she'd stood him up again, he just shook his head and said, "Man, I feel like I'm always waiting." And that's the problem when someone disrespects your time. They make you feel like you're waiting, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. The Stoics understood the value of time. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Richard realized Elise wasn't busy or forgetful. She just didn't value his time because she didn't value him, and he had allowed it. The solution? Respect your time as fiercely as you respect your life. A woman who honors you will honor your time. She'll show up when she says she will, treating your minutes as sacred, because they are. Epictetus asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" Richard stopped waiting, and so should you. Time wasted is life wasted. Spend yours where it's valued. I'd love to hear about your journey and triumphs. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.